Hello, everyone, and welcome back to First and 15 Fantasy Football Podcast. If you haven't already, please give us a like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel so that we can continue to give you the best fantasy football content and the most effective strategies to winning your season. Please follow as we continue to give you the most hot topics, discussions, and analysis in and around the league, fantasy football updates, injury analysis, and effective strategies so that you can win during your championship season. Hello everyone, this is Carlos, and welcome back to another episode of First and 15 Fantasy Football Podcast. We're going to be getting and diving into the AFC North. The Cincinnati Bengals had an overall record of 10-7 during the regular season. As you know, they went to the Super Bowl and also had a viable fantasy production out of a lot of offensive players. More specifically, three key wide receivers, Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow. And then obviously it's sprinkled in with your tight end. And so we're going to jump actually into Joe Burrow himself. Joe Burrow had some completions for 366 with 4,611 yards. He threw for 34 pass TDs and also had an overall total PPR score of 328.1. Again, that PPR score is according to whatever your scoring system is utilized, but on most fantasy websites, you're going to see that he's in and around that range. So he actually only missed one game throughout the season, which was awesome because in the previous season, he also had a significant injury itself that he was coming back from. So it was really good to see that he had a really good season and finished the season strong, but he did suffer some minor knee injuries along the way. And that one game that he did miss was due to a low grade 1 knee sprain. And then later on in February, he actually had a grade 2 MCL sprain. He should be fine throughout the offseason, be able to recover fine. Didn't have any type of surgery or any type of repair. And he'll be ready for the season opener. And so we're looking for him to pick up right where he left off, continues to make some fantasy production. He has actually ranked 7 in the overall quarterback ranking in your redraft leagues right now, and so that makes him again kind of a top tier 2 kind of category to think of, and specifically the quarterbacks overall. He actually rushed for 40 attempts at 118 yards. Didn't do too much rushing, but he did rush in for 2 more touchdowns, specifically more in the goal line setting itself. He did have 14 interceptions, and so we're going to see hopefully that he can make some more improvements in accuracy and decision making and continue to lower the interception rate and continues to make more improvements with his offensive weapons. Other key notables that we're going to be talking about are Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon obviously had a fantastic season as well. Well over 1,000 yards, 292 attempts specifically, 1,205 yards, had 13 rush TDs. He added 42 receptions for 314 yards, 3 reception TDs. He actually only missed 1 game as well. So again, a really good sign for him, finishing the season strong and making a more relatively healthy season overall. He did miss 1 game, but that was, again, he just really sat out the last game itself. And so no real significant injuries to be good. So during this offseason and in training camp, we're going to see that he continues to make good progress. We're making sure that he continues to have a healthy training camp as well. He is going to be your ranked 7 overall running back right now in your redraft leagues. And so kind of consider that category as he moves forward in the league itself. Other key notable Bengals that we're going to be talking about are Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, I'm sure if you didn't have a healthy exposure of him last year, I'm sure you're going to have a healthy exposure of him this year. At least you're going to see him rising up in the ADPs, or at least in kind of these best ball leagues and all these FFPC leagues. Right now, you know, Jamar Chase is sitting at 3rd ranking wide receiver overall, again, according to some of your redraft leagues, and only missed 2 games throughout the season. So that's also a really good sign for him. He didn't really have a significant injury. He did miss week he didn't actually miss any weeks at all. So no missed games whatsoever. And so he actually added seven rush attempts for 21 yards. Also added 81 receptions for 1,455 yards. Very fantastic. I mean, look at that overall production from, over 1,000 yards and over 70 receptions. That obviously is going to show up in the fantasy production line. Also adding 13 reception TDs. And so we're looking at Ja'Marr Chase continues to make that continued production, makes that impact overall in your fantasy league, and also continues to be, one of those top tier 1 wide receivers going forward as well. T. Higgins. T. Higgins, unfortunately, did suffer a kind of shoulder injury during the season. He opted to have surgery in the off-season, or actually this off-season, and waited the entire season and played through a torn labrum. And so we don't know whether that labrum was torn, in week 2, but he did miss week 3 and week 4, and because a shoulder injury. And so we don't know whether that labrum was torn during that time, or was it torn throughout the season. Did it get worse throughout the season? But be able to play through it. He added 74 receptions for 1,091 yards. Another key player to the Cincinnati Bengals. Another key production to the Cincinnati Bengals. Another reason why they were also viable in the red zone itself. 6 reception TDs. He did again miss 2 games, and he did have off-season surgery to his shoulder. That he actually had off-season surgery in March of 2022. And so you're going to expect anywhere between kind of 4 to 6 month recovery. And so that kind of puts him right in line with the training camp and then the season opener. We're going to be making sure that he is making progress through training camp and making progress to make sure he's going to go through the preseason. If he doesn't participate in preseason, they'll keep him out for the season opener. Again, we'll continue to look at that. However, he is going to be a focal point in this office going forward. He is going to be your ranked 11 overall wide receiver in your redraft leagues right now. Another key notable is your Tyler Boyd. He only sat out 1 game last year, just a healthy scratch. He was also able to stay relatively healthy. He was able to add 22 yards rushing, and then added another 67 receptions for 828 yards. And so he was another key piece to that Bengal offense, at least offsetting some of the top 3 individuals there. Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins, and then also Joe Mixon. And so Tyler Boyd was able to kind of fill in the void a little bit. He added 5 reception TDs. And nothing's going to change within this offense. The offensive coordinator is going to be Zach Taylor again. And so you're going to see that they're going to continue to make that Joe Mixon, focal point, and then do that play action. And you're going to see Ja'Marr Chase go over the top. And then you're going to see right in between those intermediary levels and underneath Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins making a lot of fantasy production within that system. Some key acquisitions you're going to have. You have Elijah Holyfield. And then you have your offensive tackle, La'el Collins, and another tight end, Hayden Hurst. Those are kind of your little key acquisitions through the offseason, and we'll make sure to continue to update you as some of these changes go along. But that's your Cincinnati Bengals, again, staying relatively healthy throughout the season, as it was evident that they were able to make it all to the Super Bowl with some of these key players performing at their highest level. So again, this is your First and 15 Fantasy Football Podcast. Follow us on Twitter. We'll see you next time.